What we're talking about.
You sent me through a little thing about the Royal Navy and their recruitment issues. Since sort of July 2023, that there's been a drop in recruitment in the previous 18 months.
Yes.
And from, I think it was March 23, they were down like 22.1% or something like that. What's going on?
What I'm interested in is the bits that we could pull out and extrapolate and make it into a wider conversation to do with society. The people who are recruited for any armed forces are from the community. Outliers that you could point to and think, oh, so society's changed. Because I remember in the early 90s, they were struggling to recruit people that could march because of the use of sneakers. People's feet were starting to become flat-footed. No way would that have improved, but I don't hear about that anymore, so I assume they must have done something to make the marching easier. I don't know. So there is a lot in here that causes alarm bells for somebody who's interested in the defence capabilities of any navy or whatever. You mentioned the 22.1% downturn. What they didn't say is that was during COVID. So again, like all reporting, it might be true, but it didn't mention the full context.
And just sort of chuckle at that point that you made, that we're talking about the mainstream media, so it's definitely not going to pick up the full context, is it? While we both have an interest in all things Royal Navy and maritime, does this just signal a wider problem in society? Full stop. And is that what this is a signal of? So I'm questioning, well, why? Why is there an issue with recruitment? Is it because of the quality of the recruit? Is it really because of the inability to listen to authority anymore? And if that's the case, what has happened to society to mean that the recruit is not of a good enough quality, which would then speak into a whole range of things like education, fitness, general well-being, whether that's physical or mental health. And if it's a social inability to not listen to authority anymore, well, what's happened to society around authority? What's happened to authority to rub society up the wrong way?
Authority is an interesting one because supposedly, although the article was to do with the British Royal Navy, it also mentioned, for instance, HMS Raleigh, which is the training base for the lower deck. Officers would go to Dartmouth. But currently, when the article came out, the maximum they can take is 375, but it was down to 109. A massive decrease in numbers coming in. But it's all navies around the world. And it's also the RAF, it's also the British Army, and likewise in other countries. And I watched a video asking the same question about the US military. And this has been a concern for some time because what they're saying is that the recruitment tends to come from certain families now, feeding from the same set all the time, which is not good for the general gene pool, so to speak. Why is it no longer appealing to the new generation coming through? The video that I saw gave these reasons. They can get opportunities elsewhere for the same amount of money. It's no longer appealing to get people into trade. I remember one of the recruitment people saying, oh, if you do this and this in the Navy, you can get a good trade if you came out. Obesity, people are no longer fit enough to be able to do the basic training. They would struggle, so it's putting them off joining, and they may not even get through the initial interviews. But more importantly, and I know this is something that may be of interest to you, Steve, there seems to be very little trust with the institutions of government now. So when we joined the Navy, the only news you ever got was from 2 or 3 terrestrial channels in the UK. But now they can get it from the internet, they can get it from anywhere, social media. They've poisoned the well, and therefore people are no longer prepared to take from the well or from what they think is in the well, suppressing people joining the armed forces.
I wouldn't disagree on those points. I think the point that you raised around trades is really interesting. I was talking to a builder the other day who wanted to get some young folk to come and help him do some work, and they weren't interested. As working on a building site is dirty manual work, which is below them. And what they want is they want an air-conditioned office, and they want to sit somewhere in the comfy and the dry so that they can have their IT in front of them. Everyone wants to be a manager. They don't want to be a worker. They want to be the one in charge. They don't want to have to go in at the bottom and work their way through the top. They want to come in at the top and sit at the top. Very few people today are looking to forge out a career where you come in at the bottom and you graft your way through to the top. I want to come in on my big fat salary. I want to come in on all my company perks. I want to come in at that level. I don't want to be doing that bit because I'm better than that. I'm much better than that. That is a problem with society. Society has become so much, I am so good and I am worth everything, and it's all about me, that actually, no, it's not. The world doesn't revolve around you. It never has. It never will. And so you get your head out your backside, roll your sleeves up, do some work, learn something about yourself, learn something about others around you. And then when you do get to the top, which you may well do, then you might get there and you might be in a better position to lead when you do get there. But unfortunately, we don't seem to see a lot of that at the moment. People just don't want to work. They don't want to get their hands dirty.